Have you ever worked for 10 hours and still felt that the most important task was unfinished? You answered messages, joined meetings, checked documents, and switched between 5 tabs. You were busy all day, but when the day ended, your mind felt heavy and your best thinking never appeared. This is one of the biggest problems of modern work. We often confuse activity with progress. We believe that more hours, more pressure, and more effort must create better results. But the brain does not work like a factory machine. It cannot produce high-quality ideas at the same speed from morning to night. In Hyperefficient, Dr. Mithu Storoni explains a different way to work. The goal is not to force your brain to work harder. The goal is to place it in the right mental state, give it the right amount of pressure, and let it recover at the right time. In this episode, you will learn how the brain moves through 3 mental gears, why multitasking often destroys focus, how to build a better deep work session, how to recover from mental fatigue, and how sleep, movement, light, food, and daily rhythm can support productivity. You will also learn useful English for work and self-growth, including words such as focus, overload, recovery, routine, pressure, and efficiency. So, if you often feel busy but not effective, tired but unable to stop, or distracted even when the work matters, this book offers a practical system for changing the way you work. Hyperefficient, Optimize Your Brain to Transform the Way You Work was written by Mithu Storoni, a physician, a surgeon, and neuroscience researcher. She studied medicine at the University of Cambridge and later completed a PhD in neuro-ophthalmology at University College London. Her work connects brain science with the real problems of modern knowledge workers. The book begins with a simple idea. The modern workday was shaped by the factory age, but much of today's work depends on judgment, creativity, learning, and complex problem solving. These abilities do not improve simply because we sit at a desk for more hours. Storoni organizes her approach around 3 broad principles: get in gear, run in rhythm, and find your flame. In simple words, you need the right mental state, the right work rhythm, and the right kind of motivation. This book is especially useful for people who work with information: office workers, managers, students, designers, programmers, writers, remote workers, and anyone who must think clearly under pressure. 1. Stop measuring work like a factory. The first step is to change the meaning of efficiency. In factory work, efficiency is often easy to measure. If one worker makes 20 parts in an hour and another makes 30, the second worker looks more productive. The output is clear, physical, and countable. Knowledge work is different. A good decision may save a team 6 months. One strong idea may be more useful than 50 average ideas. A careful plan may prevent a costly mistake. In this kind of work, quality matters more than constant speed. Imagine a product manager in Toronto. She spends the morning moving quickly through messages, updates, and short meetings. By noon, she has completed many small tasks. Then she opens the document for a difficult product decision. She has plenty of information, but no clear judgment. Her mind is full, her attention is weak, and she begins to repeat ideas that other people have already suggested. She has been productive in a narrow sense, but not effective in the work that matters most. Storoni's argument is that the brain cannot perform every kind of task in the same state. Repetitive work, creative work, fast reaction, and deep analysis need different conditions. When we demand the same pace all day, we may increase visible activity while reducing the quality of thought. A common mistake is to treat mental work as a test of character. People say, "I just need more discipline," or I should push through. But effort is not unlimited. Attention, working memory, and self-control depend on the condition of the brain and body. This does not mean that discipline is useless. It means discipline should be used to design better conditions, not to fight biology every hour. Here is the practical point. Before starting a task, ask what kind of thinking it needs. Does it require speed, accuracy, creativity, learning, or calm judgment? Then choose a time, place, and work style that support that kind of thinking. Do not begin by asking, "How long can I work?" Begin by asking, "What state does this task require?" 2. Learn the 3 mental gears. Storoni uses the image of a car with 3 gears to explain different mental states. Gear 1 is slow, loose, and relaxed. Your attention is wide. Your thoughts may wander. This is the state you often enter when you are resting, taking a shower, looking out of a window, or walking without a clear goal. Gear 2 is the useful middle zone. You are alert, but not overexcited. Your prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain used for planning and higher thinking, can work well. In Gear 2, you can focus, compare ideas, solve problems, learn, and make careful decisions. Gear 3 is fast, reactive, and highly alert. It is useful in a real emergency. But during normal knowledge work, it often creates problems. You may type faster, answer more quickly, and feel very active, but your accuracy can fall. You notice every sound, every message, and every possible threat. You react before you fully think. One chemical involved in this process is norepinephrine. It helps control alertness and attention. Too little can leave you sleepy and unfocused. Too much can make you tense and easily distracted. The middle level supports the kind of focused thinking that Storoni calls Gear 2. Consider a software engineer working from home in Amsterdam. At 9 a.m., he begins calmly and understands a difficult problem. Then 3 urgent messages arrive. A client reports an error. His manager asks for an update. A meeting starts in 15 minutes. His brain shifts upward. At first, the extra pressure helps him move. But soon he enters Gear 3. He opens more windows, checks the same code again, misses a small detail, and becomes less able to see the whole system. The mistake is believing that Gear 3 is high performance because it feels intense. It is often high activity with lower control. Your personal gear personality also matters. Some people need more stimulation to reach Gear 2. Others move into Gear 3 very easily. One person may work better with a short deadline. Another may become anxious and lose focus under the same deadline. The practical point is simple: learn your signs. In Gear 1, you may feel slow or bored. In Gear 2, you feel engaged and clear. In Gear 3, your thoughts become fast, narrow, and reactive. The skill is not staying in one gear forever. The skill is shifting on purpose. 3. Use cognitive load instead of letting it use you. Cognitive load means the amount of information your mind is handling at one time. If the load is too low, you may become bored and fall toward Gear 1. If the load is too high, you may become overloaded and rise into Gear 3. The goal is not zero pressure. The goal is the right level of pressure. This explains why multitasking is usually harmful, but not always in exactly the same way. For complex work, multitasking divides attention and increases mistakes. Writing a strategy while answering messages is not real parallel work. The brain keeps switching. Each switch creates a small cost. Over time, your working memory becomes crowded, and your mind loses the deeper structure of the problem. However, Storoni makes an important distinction. If a task is extremely dull, A small amount of extra stimulation may help some people stay in gear too. For example, a remote worker who must review simple file names for an hour may focus better with quiet background music or a standing desk. That does not mean multitasking is a general productivity method. It means stimulation should match the task. Imagine an accountant in Chicago preparing a difficult report. She keeps email open because she wants to be responsive. Every few minutes, she reads a new message. None of the messages takes long, but each one breaks the mental model she is building. After an hour, she has worked continuously, yet she must rebuild the same line of thought again and again. A common mistake is to blame weak focus on personal failure while keeping an environment that constantly attacks attention. Notifications, open chat tools, visible phones, and unclear priorities all add load. Here is what you can do. First, reduce the number of active goals. Decide what finished means before you begin. Second, remove incoming information during complex work. Third, keep only the material needed for the current step. Fourth, when a task is too easy and your mind drifts, add mild stimulation instead of adding a second serious task. You can also reduce decision load. Prepare a simple routine for repeated choices: when to check email, where to store notes, what to do first after lunch, and how to close the workday. The practical point: protect working memory. Your brain should spend its limited capacity on the problem, not on remembering what to ignore. 4. Build deep work around fresh attention. Many people try to create focus by blocking 2 or 3 hours on a calendar. But a long block is not automatically a good block. Storoni suggests that a work session often works best at around 60 to 90 minutes, depending on the task, the time of day, and your level of fatigue. The beginning of the session is usually the freshest part. That means the hardest work should not wait until the end. Imagine a policy researcher in Boston. She has a 90-minute block for a major report. In the first 20 minutes, she checks old notes, changes the font, and organizes folders. Then she begins the difficult argument. By that time, her attention is already weaker. A better plan is to reverse the order. Start with the part that needs the clearest judgment. Use the early minutes for the hardest question, the most complex paragraph, or the key decision. Move easier tasks to the later part of the session. This is a powerful idea because it respects the changing quality of attention inside one work period. Deep work also needs a clear target. Work on the presentation is too vague. Write the 3 reasons for recommendation. Gives the brain a specific path. A clear target reduces uncertainty and protects gear too. During a demanding session, a brief reset may be useful before the full break. If you notice that you are rereading the same sentence, losing the structure of the problem, or making simple errors, pause for a few seconds or a few minutes. Look away, stand up, breathe slowly, or change your physical position. At the end of the session, take a real break. Do not automatically replace the document with social media. The screen may change, but the brain may remain highly stimulated. A common mistake is to plan deep work after a morning full of meetings. Meetings create social, emotional, and informational load. They may leave little clean attention for careful thinking. Here is the practical point. Place 1 or 2 demanding sessions in your best part of the day. Put the hardest work at the start of each session. Keep the goal narrow. Then stop before mental fatigue becomes severe. More hours are not always more depth. Storoni suggests limiting truly intense mental work to about 4 hours a day because deep work is a high-cost activity, not an all-day setting. 5. Shift your brain through the body and environment. Your mental state is not controlled by thoughts alone. The body and environment constantly send signals to the brain. This gives you several simple ways to change gears. If you feel sleepy and cannot enter gear 2, movement can increase alertness. A short walk, a few stairs, or light exercise may help. Muscle tension can also raise alertness for a short time. Even changing posture can make a difference. If you feel tense and close to gear 3, use the opposite signals. Release muscle tension. Stretch slowly. Lower the level of noise and light. Make your exhalation longer. Slow breathing can support the calming part of the nervous system. Vision also matters. A narrow visual target supports focused attention. A wider view can help the mind loosen. This is one reason looking across a park or out of a large window may feel different from staring at a small screen. Walking is especially useful for creative thinking. It keeps the body active, but it does not force attention onto one fixed point. The changing visual scene helps attention move. You remain alert while giving ideas more space to connect. Imagine a creative director in Copenhagen. She has spent 40 minutes forcing a slogan for a campaign. The harder she pushes, the more similar her ideas become. Instead of staying at the desk, she takes a slow walk around the block without listening to a podcast. She is not trying to solve the problem every second. Her attention becomes wider. A few minutes later, she notices a connection between two ideas that seemed unrelated. The mistake would be to turn the walk into another information session by checking messages or playing a dense business podcast. That may keep the brain loaded. Temperature, caffeine, sound, and light can also change alertness. But these tools should be used carefully. Coffee can help raise a low state, but too much can push a sensitive person toward gear 3. Bright light may help in the morning, while a calmer environment may help later. The practical point: do not always argue with your mind. Change the signals around it. When you need more energy, add movement, light, or mild stimulation. When you need less pressure, reduce input, relax the body, and lengthen the breath. 6. Work in a power law rhythm. Modern offices often reward a flat rhythm. Work at the same speed for many hours, stay available, and keep producing. The brain does not naturally work that way. Storoni describes a power law pattern. In simple terms, you spend a small amount of time at high intensity, more time at medium intensity, and the largest amount of time at low intensity or recovery. This is not laziness. It is a way to protect the periods when your highest quality thinking is possible. Intense mental work uses energy inside brain cells and produces chemical byproducts. The brain also clears those byproducts. Fatigue may grow when demanding work produces them faster than recovery can remove them. In everyday language, mental tiredness is not simply a bad attitude. It is useful information that the present level of effort is becoming expensive. Imagine a consultant in London who has 4 major tasks: analyze client data, design a recommendation, answer routine email, and prepare meeting notes. In a flat schedule, he moves between all 4 tasks throughout the day. The difficult work is repeatedly interrupted, and the easy work expands to fill every open space. In a power law schedule, he protects a short period for the most demanding analysis. Then he moves to medium-level work such as organizing ideas. Later, when attention is lower, he handles routine messages and simple editing. The intensity changes, but useful work continues. This pattern also changes the meaning of a break. Storoni describes 2 useful types. A reset break happens inside a work session. It is short and helps you return to the right gear. A refuel break comes after a longer session and gives the brain more recovery. The right break depends on your state. If you are simply tired, quiet rest may be enough. But if you are tired and wired, your body is exhausted while your mind is still racing. In that state, sitting silently may not work because the problem keeps repeating in your head. A short absorbing activity can first pull attention away from work. After the mind has truly disconnected, you can move into calmer rest. The key is not endless entertainment. The key is reaching a point where work is no longer holding your attention. A common mistake is to call any change of activity a break. Scrolling through urgent news, arguing online, or watching a stressful video may increase stimulation instead of recovery. The practical point: plan different levels of intensity. Do not spend your whole day at the top. Protect short peaks. Use medium effort for support tasks, and give the brain enough low-load time to recover. 7. Match important work to your daily rhythm. Your mental state changes across the day, even when your schedule does not. Circadian rhythm is the roughly 24-hour system that helps organize sleep, temperature, hormones, and alertness. People also differ. Some reach useful alertness earlier. Others reach it later. The lesson is not that everyone must wake up at 5 a.m. The lesson is to notice when your own gear 2 appears most easily. For many people, focused analytical work is easier during a stronger alert period, often in the morning. Creative thinking may sometimes improve when control is slightly looser, such as early in the day before full alertness or later when the mind is less rigid. After lunch, many people experience a natural drop in energy. Imagine a marketing analyst in Seattle. She schedules meetings from 9 to 11 o'clock because that is when everyone is available. Then she tries to do her most complex analysis at 2 p.m. when she feels sleepy. She uses more coffee, works more slowly, and becomes frustrated. She may not need more motivation. She may need a different schedule. A better design would place focused analysis in her strongest attention window and move routine meetings to a weaker period when possible. She may also use the lower energy period for reading, simple administration, or a walk that supports creative thought. Sleep is central to this system. It supports recovery, learning, emotional control, and attention. When sleep is poor, the brain enters gear 3 more easily and stays in gear 2 for less time. Food also affects the workday. Very heavy meals may increase sleepiness for some people. Long gaps without food may reduce energy for others. The practical goal is not a perfect diet. It is steady support. Notice which meals leave you clear and which leave you slow. Stay hydrated. Avoid using sugar or caffeine to repeatedly cover serious fatigue. A common mistake is to copy another person's routine without testing it. A famous founder's 5 a.m. schedule may be useless for someone whose best thinking begins later. Here is the practical point. Track your energy for 1 week. Mark when focus feels natural, when creativity appears, when you become reactive, and when you feel sleepy. Then place tasks according to the pattern you actually have, not the pattern you think a successful person should have. 8. Protect motivation, curiosity, and learning. The final part of hyperefficiency is motivation. Pressure can start action, but it cannot support high-quality thinking forever. If every task feels like a threat, the brain may keep moving toward gear 3. You may work quickly, but fear narrows attention and reduces exploration. Storoni uses the phrase, "find your flame," for the kind of motivation that comes from curiosity, learning, mastery, and visible progress. Imagine a junior architect in Berlin. She receives a difficult design problem. If she thinks, "I must prove that I deserve this job," the task becomes a test of identity. Every mistake feels dangerous. But if she asks, "What can I learn about space, light, and movement from this problem?" the same task becomes a field for exploration. The pressure does not disappear, but the mental meaning changes. This matters because modern careers are less predictable. Tools change quickly. Roles change. AI can perform more routine tasks. A person who depends only on fixed rewards may lose motivation when the old path changes. Learning creates a more stable direction. You can measure progress even when the final result is uncertain. Good learning tasks usually have several features. The goal is clear. The challenge is slightly above your present skill. Feedback arrives soon enough to guide improvement. Progress can be seen. Mistakes are allowed as information rather than treated as personal failure. These conditions also support flow, a state of deep involvement in which effort feels more natural and attention stays with the task. A common mistake is to choose goals that are either too easy or too threatening. If the task is too easy, you drop toward Gear 1. If it feels impossible, you may jump toward Gear 3. The useful zone stretches your ability without removing your sense of control. Here is what you can do. Choose one meaningful question for the week. Study it from more than one source. Create something with what you learn. Ask for feedback. Keep a visible record of progress. The practical point: do not use fear as your main fuel. Build work around learning, useful challenge, and curiosity. A strong inner reason helps you return to Gear 2, even when the outside world is changing. 9. Reduce information pressure and practice uncertainty. Information overload is not only about quantity. Timing, quality, and structure also matter. A stream of short updates may look easy, but fragmented information forces the brain to rebuild context. Short summaries can also create an illusion of understanding without showing the reasons, limits, or connections. Imagine an operations manager in New York who works with teams in 3 time zones. Because something is always happening, she checks dashboards and group chats from early morning until bedtime. She believes constant checking gives her control. Each update creates another open question. Her brain stays watchful, and ordinary uncertainty feels urgent. By evening, she is tired and wired. A better routine begins with boundaries. Choose a few trusted sources. Pull information when needed instead of letting every app push it toward you. Review messages at set times. For important topics, read enough context to understand the argument. It also helps to practice small amounts of uncertainty. Before asking for another update, wait and see whether it is truly needed. Before adding another option, decide whether the present choices are enough. Simple rituals can create stability. A fixed start to a focus session, a written plan before a difficult meeting, or an end-of-day shutdown routine can tell the brain, "I know what happens next." A common mistake is trying to remove all uncertainty. That goal creates more checking, more data, and more pressure. Some uncertainty cannot be removed. It can only be managed. The practical point: build a cleaner information diet and a stronger response to the unknown. Control your inputs, create a few stable routines, and leave enough mental space for real understanding. Let us turn the main ideas into 7 small practical actions you can use this week. First, name the kind of thinking each task needs. Separate fast routine work from deep analysis, creative work, and important decisions. Second, learn your 3 gears. Notice when you are slow and unfocused, when you are clear and engaged, and when you are fast but reactive. Third, protect working memory. During complex work, close extra tabs, silence notifications, and reduce the number of active goals. Fourth, build one 60 to 90-minute focus session. Put the hardest work in the first part and leave easier work for later. Fifth, use the body to change state. Add movement, light, or mild stimulation when energy is low. Use stretching, slow breathing, and less input when pressure is too high. Sixth, work in rhythm. Use short periods of high intensity, longer periods of medium effort, and enough low-load recovery. Take reset breaks before attention collapses and refuel breaks after demanding sessions. Seventh, design around your real daily pattern. Track your energy, protect sleep, choose meals that support steady alertness, and stop copying routines that do not fit your biology. One final idea connects all 7 actions. Do not ask your brain to prove its strength by suffering. Ask it to perform the right task in the right state. That is the central promise of hyperefficiency. Better work does not always come from more force. It often comes from better timing, better conditions, better recovery, and a clearer reason to care. Before we finish, here are 7 useful expressions from today's episode. Workload means the amount of work you must handle. Cognitive load means the amount of information your mind is processing. To stay focused means to keep your attention on one task. To switch gears means to change your mental state or way of working. To feel overwhelmed means to feel that the pressure is greater than your ability to manage it. A recovery period is time used to restore energy after effort. And high-quality output means work that is valuable, accurate, and well thought out. You can use these expressions in daily English. For example, my workload is heavy, so I need to reduce my cognitive load. Or, I took a short walk to switch gears and return to the task with better focus. What is your biggest problem with work efficiency? Or which word did you find most useful? Let me know in the comments.